Welcome to Gone Legends. Today, we honor Hollywood stars whose unforgettable performances shaped the world of film and television. Though their lights have dimmed, their artistry continues to shine, forever engraved in the story of cinema. If you love remembering the lives of legendary stars, don't forget to subscribe to Gone Legends and join us as we keep their memories alive.
Born on March 30, 1950, in Rutherglen, Scotland, Robbie Coltrane was an actor whose warmth, intelligence, and gentle humor made him one of the most beloved figures in modern cinema. His journey from the small stages of British comedy to the grand sets of Hollywood was defined not by fame, but by heart. Before the world knew him as Rubeus Hagrid, the kind-hearted giant of the Harry Potter films, Coltrane was already a star in the United Kingdom. He began his career in stand-up and sketch comedy during the late 1970s, earning recognition for his wit, timing, and emotional range. His quick humor and commanding presence soon led him to television, where he became a familiar face on British screens. In the 1990s, Robbie Coltrane achieved critical acclaim with his role in the television drama Cracker, playing the complex and brilliant criminal psychologist Dr. Eddie Fitzgerald. The performance showcased his extraordinary versatility, a man who could make audiences laugh one moment and move them to tears the next. The role earned him multiple BAFTA awards, confirming what many already knew: Coltrane was one of the finest actors of his generation. But it was in 2001 that his legacy would reach global heights. Cast as Rubeus Hagrid in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Coltrane became a beloved figure to millions around the world. As Hagrid, he embodied kindness, loyalty, and courage, qualities that resonated deeply with fans young and old. His booming laugh, gentle eyes, and protective warmth made Hagrid more than just a character. He became a symbol of comfort and friendship to an entire generation. Coltrane's career stretched beyond Hogwarts. He appeared in blockbuster films like GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough as the Russian arms dealer Valentin Zukovsky, bringing charm and mischief to the James Bond franchise. He also starred in Nuns on the Run and From Hell, proving again and again that he could effortlessly shift between comedy and drama with depth and authenticity. Away from the spotlight, Robbie Coltrane was known for his intellect and compassion. He was passionate about art, cars, and the craft of storytelling. Those who worked with him often spoke about his generosity, both on set and off. He carried himself with humility, never letting fame overshadow the joy he found in performance. On October 14, 2022, Robbie Coltrane passed away at the age of 72. The news broke hearts around the world, especially among those who grew up watching Harry Potter. For millions, it felt like losing a dear friend, someone who had guided them through childhood with warmth, laughter, and wisdom. Robbie Coltrane's kindness and humor made him more than a movie star; he was family to millions. His presence on screen will forever remind us that true greatness isn't just about talent, but about the love and humanity an artist leaves behind. His laughter, his spirit, and his legacy will always echo in the halls of Hogwarts, and in the hearts of fans everywhere. Raquel Welch, born on September 5, 1940, in Chicago, Illinois, was one of Hollywood's most enduring and captivating icons. Her name became synonymous with beauty, strength, and timeless elegance. But her story was never just about fame. It was about determination, reinvention, and the courage to rise above stereotypes in an industry that often tried to define her by appearance alone. Raquel's journey to stardom began modestly. She started as a weather presenter and model before landing her breakout role in 1,000,000 Years BC, 1966. Though she spoke very few lines in that film, her image, clad in a now iconic deerskin bikini, catapulted her to global fame. Practically overnight, Raquel became a symbol of 1960s glamour. Yet beneath that fame, she was determined to prove she was far more than a pin-up star. Throughout her career, Raquel fought to be taken seriously as an actress. Her persistence paid off when she won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in The Three Musketeers, 1973, showcasing her wit, skill, and sharp comedic timing. She went on to star in a range of roles, from the action-packed Fantastic Voyage to the emotional depth of Right to Die, continually challenging expectations and breaking barriers for women in Hollywood. Raquel Welch's influence went far beyond the screen. She embodied confidence, sophistication, and independence at a time when female stars were often defined by the men around them. She refused to be typecast or controlled by the industry's standards of beauty, inspiring future generations of actresses to take ownership of their careers and their image. Away from the spotlight, Raquel was also a mother, businesswoman, and author. She built a successful career in fashion and beauty, creating products that reflected her signature grace and strength. Fans admired not only her style but also her authenticity, a woman who remained elegant, private, and proud of her journey. On February 15, 2023, Raquel Welch passed away peacefully at the age of 82. Her death marked the end of an era, but her spirit continues to shine brightly in every classic film, in every red carpet she once graced, and in every actress she inspired to dream beyond limits. Raquel Welch will forever be remembered as a trailblazer, a woman who conquered Hollywood with grace, power, and timeless elegance. Her beauty may have opened doors, but it was her strength, intelligence, and determination that made her a legend. Treat Williams was more than a familiar face on screen. He was a performer who radiated warmth, integrity, and heart. Born on December 1, 1951, in Rowayton, Connecticut, Treat grew up with a love for storytelling and the performing arts. After attending Franklin and Marshall College, his journey led him to the stage, and soon, to Hollywood, where his undeniable talent began to shine. He first gained national attention in 1979 with his breakout role in the musical film Hair. His performance captured the restless spirit of an entire generation, a mix of rebellion, tenderness, and hope that instantly made him one of the most promising young actors of his time. Williams followed that success with Prince of the City, 1981, a gripping crime drama that showcased his intensity and depth. His portrayal of a conflicted New York detective earned him critical acclaim and solidified his place among Hollywood's most respected dramatic talents. Over the next 5 decades, Treat Williams built a career defined by range and authenticity. He moved effortlessly between film, television, and theater, appearing in Once Upon a Time in America, Mulholland Falls, 127 Hours, and a long list of television roles that brought his name to new generations of viewers. But for many fans, he was best known as Dr. Andy Brown in the beloved TV drama Everwood, 2002 to 2006. His portrayal of a widowed father starting a new life in a small town resonated deeply with audiences, revealing a quiet strength and emotional honesty that felt rare and real. What made Treat Williams special wasn't just his skill, it was his sincerity. Colleagues and fans alike described him as one of the kindest, most grounded people in Hollywood. He approached every role, no matter how big or small, with care, humility, and an unmistakable sense of purpose. Tragically, on June 12, 2023, Treat Williams' life was cut short in a motorcycle accident near his home in Vermont. He was 71 years old. His sudden passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, leaving behind not just a rich body of work, but also a legacy of compassion, generosity, and artistry. Treat Williams will forever be remembered for his passion, his kindness, and the genuine heart he brought to every performance. Whether playing a soldier, a father, or a dreamer, he reminded us of the quiet power of humanity and the beauty of staying true to oneself. His light may have dimmed, but his spirit continues to shine in every story he told, every role he embodied, and every life he touched. Alan Arkin, born on March 26, 1934, in Brooklyn, New York, was one of Hollywood's most versatile, intelligent, and deeply human performers. Over a career spanning more than 6 decades, he mastered the rare art of making audiences laugh, think, and feel, often all within the same scene. From his earliest days, Arkin displayed a passion for storytelling. He began his career in the 1950s as a folk musician and stage performer before breaking into film, where his natural wit and emotional honesty quickly set him apart. In 1966, his breakout role in The Russians Are Coming earned him his first Academy Award nomination, and announced to the world that a remarkable new talent had arrived. Arkin's acting style was unique. He didn't rely on theatrics or exaggeration. Instead, he approached each role with quiet intelligence and empathy, bringing out the humanity in even the most eccentric characters. Whether playing a nervous bank robber, a struggling father, or a world-weary CIA agent, Arkin made his characters feel real, deeply flawed, yet deeply relatable. In 2006, his career reached new heights with Little Miss Sunshine, a heartfelt indie film that became a modern classic. As the foul-mouthed but lovable grandfather, Arkin stole hearts and scenes alike. The role earned him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, a fitting tribute to his lifelong mastery of both humor and heart. He continued to shine well into his later years with powerful performances in Argo, for which he received another Oscar nomination, and in the Netflix hit The Kominsky Method, where he shared moving, razor-sharp chemistry with Michael Douglas. Even in his 80s, Arkin brought the same honesty, timing, and emotional truth that had defined his work for decades. Alan Arkin passed away on June 29, 2023, at the age of 89. His death marked the loss of one of Hollywood's quiet giants, an artist who could make you laugh in one moment and leave you in tears the next. His legacy is one of balance and brilliance. Alan Arkin's genius lay in his ability to find humanity in every role, reminding us that comedy and tragedy are not opposites, they are reflections of each other. He showed that the greatest performances come not from showmanship, but from understanding the human heart. Though he is gone, Alan Arkin's spirit endures in the films he left behind, in the laughter he sparked, and in the truth he revealed on screen. Kirstie Alley, born on January 12, 1951, in Wichita, Kansas, was a woman whose laughter and warmth filled screens and hearts across the world. With her quick wit, infectious personality, and undeniable comedic timing, she became one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, a true star whose light still shines long after her passing. Kirstie's journey to fame wasn't an easy one. Before Hollywood, she worked as an interior designer in Kansas, dreaming of something bigger. Her early years were marked by both determination and tragedy, including the loss of her mother in a car accident, which shaped her resilience and depth. She moved to Los Angeles in the late 1970s, where her natural charisma quickly opened doors. Her first major role came in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan in 1982, where she played the Vulcan officer Savick, a performance that marked the beginning of an incredible career. But it was on television that Kirstie Alley became a household name. In 1987, she joined the hit NBC sitcom Cheers as Rebecca Howe, taking on the impossible task of replacing Shelley Long, and not only succeeded but made the role entirely her own. Her blend of confidence, chaos, and charm captivated audiences, earning her both an Emmy Award and a Golden Globe. For millions of viewers, Cheers simply wasn't Cheers without her. Kirstie's success continued on the big screen. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, she starred in the family comedy Look Who's Talking alongside John Travolta, a box office hit that showcased her relatable humor and warmth. Their on-screen chemistry became legendary, turning the film into a classic of its era and launching 2 sequels. Later, she starred in Veronica's Closet, another television success that further solidified her reputation as one of TV's brightest comedic forces. But beyond the spotlight, Kirstie Alley was known for her authenticity, her willingness to be open about her struggles, her beliefs, and her personal journey. She faced challenges with courage and honesty, whether dealing with fame, motherhood, or personal transformation. Her strength made her not just a performer, but a real person fans could connect with and admire. On December 5, 2022, after a brief and private battle with cancer, Kirstie Alley passed away at the age of 71. Her death came as a shock to fans and friends around the world, including her Cheers co-stars, who remembered her as a radiant spirit filled with laughter and love. Kirstie Alley will forever be remembered for her fearless wit, radiant charm, and the way she made laughter feel like healing. She taught us that humor could coexist with vulnerability, and that even through life's hardest moments, joy is something we can always share. Her laughter echoes still, in every rerun of Cheers, in every heart she made smile, and in every person who remembers her not only as an actress, but as a bright, beautiful soul who lived life boldly and with love. Michael Gambon was born on October 19, 1940, in Dublin, Ireland. From humble beginnings, he rose to become one of the most respected and versatile actors of his generation, a performer whose power and presence could fill any stage or screen. For many, Michael Gambon will forever be remembered as Professor Albus Dumbledore, the wise and kind headmaster of Hogwarts in the Harry Potter films. Taking over the role after the passing of Richard Harris, Gambon brought his own depth and warmth to the beloved character, blending authority with compassion and wisdom with humor. His portrayal helped define a generation's imagination, making Dumbledore one of the most cherished figures in modern cinema. But Gambon's talent extended far beyond Hogwarts. Over a career that spanned more than 6 decades, he mastered every medium: theatre, television, and film. Trained in classical theatre, he became one of the great interpreters of Shakespeare, performing in productions of Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello. His voice carried the weight of centuries of storytelling, and his performances were often described as commanding, emotional, and profoundly human. In film, Gambon earned acclaim for roles in The King's Speech, where he portrayed King George V with regal intensity, and in Gosford Park, where his subtle, layered acting helped bring to life one of the most celebrated ensembles in British cinema. He also shone in television dramas such as The Singing Detective and Maigret, earning multiple BAFTA awards for his extraordinary range. Behind the scenes, Michael Gambon was known for his wit, humility, and generosity toward younger actors. Despite his immense fame, he remained grounded, a craftsman devoted to his art, never seeking celebrity, but always striving for authenticity in his performances. On September 27, 2023, Michael Gambon passed away at the age of 82. His death marked the end of an era, but his presence endures, in every spell cast at Hogwarts, in every stirring monologue, and in every audience that still feels the impact of his voice. Michael Gambon's legacy is one of brilliance, mastery, and timeless storytelling. He showed that true acting is not about fame, but about truth, about disappearing into a role so completely that the character becomes real. His work will continue to inspire generations of performers and dreamers alike. In the world of cinema, his light will never fade. Born on September 26, 1948, in Cambridge, England, and raised in Melbourne, Australia, Olivia Newton-John grew up surrounded by music, grace, and quiet determination. From an early age, her voice carried both sweetness and strength, a sound that would one day echo across the world. Her career began modestly in the 1960s, performing on local television shows and releasing early singles. But by the 1970s, Olivia's blend of country, pop, and soft rock had made her an international star. With hits like If Not For You, Let Me Be There, and Have You Never Been Mellow, she captured hearts everywhere. Her voice, pure, emotive, and comforting, became one of the most recognizable in the world. Then came 1978, and the role that would define a generation, Sandy Olsen in Grease. Starring alongside John Travolta, Olivia brought innocence and transformation to life in a way no one else could. The film became a global phenomenon, one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Songs like Hopelessly Devoted to You, You're the One That I Want, and Summer Nights turned her into a household name. Her star continued to rise through the 1980s, with the release of her bold and unforgettable hit Physical, a song that redefined pop culture and pushed the boundaries of its time. With 4 Grammy Awards, record-breaking sales, and her name forever etched in music history, Olivia Newton-John had achieved a rare kind of stardom, one built not only on talent but on kindness and integrity. But beyond fame, Olivia was also a fighter, a woman of immense courage. Diagnosed with breast cancer in 1992, she faced her illness publicly and bravely, using her platform to raise awareness and support for others. Over the next 3 decades, she became a powerful voice for cancer research and wellness, founding the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Centre in Melbourne, a lasting legacy of hope and compassion. Even during her most difficult battles, Olivia never stopped creating, singing, and giving back. Her optimism and gentle spirit shone through every interview, every performance, every cause she supported. She reminded the world that strength doesn't always roar, sometimes, it shines quietly in the face of pain. On August 8, 2022, Olivia Newton-John passed away peacefully at her home in California, surrounded by her loved ones. She was 73 years old. Her passing marked the end of a radiant life, but her light continues to guide millions. Her legacy is one of grace, resilience, and love. Olivia Newton-John wasn't just an entertainer, she was a healer through her music, her advocacy, and her kindness. Her songs continue to play, her films continue to inspire, and her spirit continues to remind us all to live with joy, compassion, and courage. Olivia Newton-John will forever be remembered as the girl who danced through decades, a timeless voice of beauty and strength whose melody will never fade. Her name is Sophia Loren, born Sophia Villoni Ciccolone on September 20, 1934, in the eternal city of Rome, Italy. To the world, she is more than a movie star. She is a vision, a symbol, a timeless embodiment of beauty, strength, and survival. There are many stars in the sky of cinema, but some shine differently. Some glow not only with talent but with something deeper, a soul that tells a story beyond the screen. Sophia Loren is one of those rare souls. Her journey begins not in luxury or privilege, but in the ashes of war. She was a child of World War II, a girl who knew hunger, fear, and uncertainty long before she ever knew fame. Her story is not a tale of overnight success. It is a story of a woman who fought her way to greatness, armed with nothing but her dreams and an unbreakable will. As a young girl, Sophia's world was not made of red carpets or cameras. It was a small, cramped apartment in Naples, where she lived with her mother and sister, clutching hope while bombs fell from the sky. Her father had left them, her mother was struggling to survive, and the world around them was falling apart. But even in those dark moments, her mother saw something, a light in her daughter's eyes, a quiet resilience that refused to be dimmed. It was that light that would one day illuminate the entire world. From that small apartment in Naples to the grandest stages of Hollywood, Sophia Loren would rise to become one of the greatest film icons of all time, her name spoken with reverence in every corner of the world. Her story is one of transformation, of a shy, skinny girl who became the face of Italian cinema, of a woman who endured poverty, scandal, and loss, yet carried herself with elegance and grace every step of the way. Through her films, she made audiences laugh, cry, and dream. Through her presence, she reminded generations that beauty without soul is fleeting, but beauty with courage, compassion, and heart lasts forever. This is not just the story of a movie star. This is the story of a survivor. This is the story of Sophia Loren, the eternal flame of Italian cinema. Before the cameras, before the glamour, before the world called her Sophia Loren, she was a little girl named Sophia Villoni Ciccolone, growing up in a world torn apart by war. Born on September 20, 1934, in the maternity ward of the Clinica Regina Margherita in Rome, Sophia's entrance into the world was humble and uncertain. Her mother, Romilda Villoni, was a woman of talent and ambition, a piano teacher and aspiring actress who had once dreamt of following in the footsteps of Greta Garbo. Her father, Riccardo Ciccolone, came from nobility, a man with influence and charm. But he refused to marry Romilda, leaving her to raise their daughters alone. This single act, abandonment, would cast a shadow over Sophia's early years, shaping her strength, her independence, and her deep understanding of pain and perseverance. When Sophia was only a few years old, Romilda moved the family to Pozzuoli, a small port town near Naples. The world was on the brink of war, and life there was harsh. The family lived in a single room, 4 people, 1 bed, little food. When air raid sirens blared, they would huddle together, praying the bombs would not fall too close. Sophia remembered the smell of smoke and the sound of hunger. She remembered standing in line for bread, her stomach empty, her body thin and fragile. In later interviews, she said, "We were poor, but I knew I had a life ahead of me. I could feel it." Despite the chaos, her mother never stopped believing. Romilda's beauty and grace were legendary in their neighborhood, and she passed that sense of poise to her daughter. When the war ended, she encouraged Sophia to chase opportunities, to dream, even when dreaming seemed impossible. By the time Sophia was a teenager, she had grown into a striking young woman. Her tall frame, expressive eyes, and soft, lilting voice caught everyone's attention. But it wasn't just beauty, it was something deeper. She carried an old soul within her, a presence that seemed to carry both suffering and hope. At 15 years old, she entered her first beauty contest in Naples, the Queen of the Sea. She didn't win the title, but something more important happened: she was noticed. Photographers and film scouts began to take interest in her. That single event lit the first spark of her cinematic destiny. Soon, she began modeling, appearing in local magazines and small advertisements. Her face became known around Naples, a face that told a story even in silence. Romilda was relentless. She believed her daughter could achieve what she never did. When Sophia was 16, they packed their bags and went to Rome, hoping to find work in the film industry. Rome was rebuilding itself after the war, and the film industry, Cinecittà Studios, was at the heart of that revival. Directors were looking for new faces, new talent, new hope. And there, among hundreds of aspiring actors, stood a shy young woman with soulful eyes and dreams too big for her circumstances. At first, Sophia took minor roles, background parts, uncredited appearances, anything that paid. She played extras in costume dramas, walked across sets in silence, and learned how a camera moves, how light shapes a face, how to survive in a world where beauty was both a blessing and a burden. Her early screen name was Sophia Lazzaro, because, as one producer joked, she's so beautiful she could raise Lazarus from the dead. In those early years, Sophia faced relentless criticism. Casting directors told her she was too tall, too dark, too voluptuous. At a time when delicate, pale beauty was in fashion, Sophia's Mediterranean look set her apart, and not always in ways that helped. But she refused to change. She refused to bleach her skin, dye her hair, or reshape herself to fit anyone else's ideal. Her confidence became her weapon. Her mother often said, "Sophia, remember who you are, your strength is in your soul, not your face." That advice would carry her for a lifetime. It was during this period that she met a man who would change her life forever, Carlo Ponti, a film producer nearly 20 years her senior. Ponti saw what others could not. He saw not just beauty, but brilliance, a star waiting to be born. He signed her to a contract and suggested a new stage name, Sophia Loren. With that, a new chapter began. Sophia Loren's rise was not like a spark that flared quickly and vanished. It was a steady, burning flame, built through determination, discipline, and the will to prove herself in a world that doubted her. By the early 1950s, she had gone from nameless extra to leading lady in Italian cinema. Under the careful guidance of Carlo Ponti, she began to appear in films that showcased her intelligence, sensuality, and emotional depth, qualities that made her unlike anyone else on the screen. Sophia's first major success came with Aida in 1953, an adaptation of the famous opera. In it, she played the role of the tragic Princess Aida, a part that required not just beauty, but soul. Audiences were captivated. Critics began to take her seriously. They saw not just a pretty face, but an actress capable of emotion so raw and real that it stayed with you long after the credits rolled. Her career gained momentum. One film after another, she displayed range, drama, comedy, romance, while maintaining a dignity and presence that made her uniquely magnetic. Then came The Gold of Naples, directed by the legendary Vittorio De Sica. In that film, she played a young woman in post-war Italy, struggling to survive. It was a role that reflected her own life, the poverty, the pride, the unbreakable will to endure. De Sica saw in Sophia something pure, a connection to real people, to the soul of Italy itself. Her performance turned her into a national symbol of resilience. She was no longer just an actress, she was Italy personified, bold, emotional, passionate, imperfect, but radiant. By the late 1950s, Hollywood began to notice. Her combination of intelligence, humor, and allure made her stand out in an industry that often valued appearance over depth. Sophia made her English-language debut in The Pride and the Passion, 1957, starring alongside Cary Grant and Frank Sinatra. It was a turning point. Not only did the film expand her global reach, but it introduced her to a world that was fascinated by her confidence and poise. Cary Grant was famously smitten by her, and their on-screen chemistry became legend. That same year, she starred in Houseboat, another romantic hit, and Legend of the Lost with John Wayne. Audiences were spellbound. Sophia Loren wasn't just another European actress, she was a phenomenon, a blend of sensuality and dignity, of mystery and humanity. Sophia managed to bridge two cinematic cultures, Italy's emotional, realistic storytelling and Hollywood's polished glamour. She became the first true international star of the modern film age. In Italy, she represented authenticity, the spirit of a nation rebuilding itself. In America, she represented elegance, the dream of sophistication and allure. And yet, even as her fame grew, Sophia never lost touch with her roots. She often returned to Italy to film, refusing to abandon her language, her culture, or her people. As her stardom rose, so did the public's fascination with her personal life, especially her relationship with Carlo Ponti. Their love story was passionate and complicated. Ponti was still legally married in Italy, where divorce was forbidden at the time. Their romance was deemed scandalous. The press called it immoral. The Vatican even denounced them. For a while, the couple lived in exile, unable to be together legally in their home country. But their love endured every storm. In 1966, after years of legal battles, they finally married in France, where divorce laws allowed Ponti's previous marriage to be annulled. Sophia once said, "When I fell in love with Carlo, I was not looking for a man of power. I was looking for a man of understanding." He became her greatest supporter, not just in her career, but in her life. By the late 1950s, Sophia Loren was everywhere: magazines, movie posters, and award ceremonies. She had conquered Italy, charmed America, and become one of the most photographed women in the world. But more importantly, she had earned the respect of filmmakers and audiences alike. There was something timeless about her, a presence that transcended language, beauty, and fashion. When she spoke, people listened. When she entered a room, the world seemed to pause. Her voice was deep and deliberate, her movements graceful but strong. She wasn't just an actress, she was a force of nature. And as the 1960s dawned, Sophia Loren was on the verge of a moment that would forever seal her name in history. Sophia Loren's rise through the 1950s had been nothing short of remarkable. But it was the 1960s that would define her legacy, a decade when she would transform from an international star into a global symbol of artistry, power, and the human spirit. By this time, Sophia had proven her talent in both Italy and Hollywood. She had worked alongside Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra, and William Holden. Her name alone could draw audiences across continents. But even with all her success, she yearned for something deeper, a role that would challenge her, move her, and reveal her soul as an actress. That opportunity came in 1960, when she reunited with one of her earliest champions, the great Italian director Vittorio De Sica. The film was called La Ciociara, Two Women. Set during the horrors of World War II, two women told the story of Cesara, a mother trying to protect her daughter amid the chaos and destruction of war-torn Italy. For Sophia, this role was deeply personal. It mirrored the fear and pain she had experienced as a child hiding from bombs in Naples. It wasn't just acting, it was memory. It was truth. On set, De Sica pushed her to the edge of emotional exhaustion. The story's most devastating scene, when Cesara and her daughter are assaulted by soldiers, was filmed with raw intensity. Sophia's sobs, her trembling, her silence afterward, none of it was performance. It was pure, unfiltered humanity. When the film premiered, audiences were stunned. Critics called her performance transcendent, unlike anything Italian cinema had seen. Sophia Loren had shattered every boundary, every doubt about her talent. In 1962, the impossible happened. Sophia Loren won the Academy Award for Best Actress, the first performer in history to win an Oscar for a foreign language role. When her name was announced, she was at home in Rome, too nervous to attend the ceremony in Los Angeles. Her dear friend Greer Garson accepted the award on her behalf. Later, Cary Grant called Sophia long distance from the stage to tell her the news. In her autobiography, she recalled, "I heard his voice through the crackle of the phone. He said, 'Sophia, you've won.' And for a moment, I couldn't breathe." It was more than a personal victory, it was a triumph for all of Italy. For a country still rebuilding from war, Sophia Loren's Oscar was a symbol of pride, artistry, and redemption. She became a national hero. The girl who had grown up hungry and frightened in wartime now stood among the greatest names in world cinema. Following her Oscar win, Sophia Loren's career reached new heights. She continued to work with De Sica and her beloved co-star Marcello Mastroianni, forming one of the most iconic screen partnerships in film history. Together, they made Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, 1963, Marriage Italian Style, 1964, and A Special Day, 1977. Each film explored the complexities of love, morality, and the female spirit. In Marriage Italian Style, she played Filumena, a woman who fights for dignity and recognition from the man she loves. Her performance earned her another Academy Award nomination. These roles weren't glamorous or easy. They were raw, human, and real, and that was Sophia's strength. She didn't hide behind beauty, she used it as a doorway to reveal something deeper, the courage, pain, and passion of being a woman. Even as she conquered the world of European cinema, Sophia remained a beloved presence in Hollywood. She starred opposite Gregory Peck in Arabesque, 1966, opposite Paul Newman in Lady L, and in countless other films that showcased her versatility, comedy, drama, and romance. But Sophia was always clear, she belonged first to Italy. Hollywood was her second home, not her identity. She once said, "I am not an actress who wants to be American. I am an Italian who acts." That proud authenticity made her stand apart. She was elegant but unpretentious, regal but human. Yet, behind her triumphs, Sophia carried the weight of a complicated life. Her relationship with Carlo Ponti continued to face scrutiny. The Italian government's strict marriage laws forced them to live abroad for years. She faced legal battles, accusations of bigamy, and relentless press intrusion. Unlike many stars who faded with time, Sophia only grew stronger, her poise, her humility, and her deep emotional intelligence making her one of the most respected women in entertainment. She had proven that talent and truth could triumph over scandal and stereotype. She had shown the world that greatness is not about perfection, but authenticity. And by the dawn of the 1970s, Sophia Loren wasn't just the face of Italian cinema, she was its soul. Behind the glow of the red carpets, the flashing cameras, and the gold of her awards, Sophia Loren was still that girl from Pozzuoli, humble, determined, and deeply human. The world saw a goddess, but Sophia always saw herself as a woman constantly learning, struggling, and growing. And it was in her private life that she faced some of her most profound challenges, the kind that no spotlight could illuminate. Even as her fame soared, Sophia's life was marked by controversy and judgment. Her love for Carlo Ponti, the man who had discovered her and believed in her when no one else did, was both her greatest blessing and her heaviest burden. Because Ponti was still legally married when they fell in love, their relationship became the target of gossip, religious condemnation, and media frenzy. In deeply Catholic post-war Italy, where divorce was illegal, their love was treated like a crime. Tabloids called her the mistress of sin. The Vatican publicly denounced their relationship. Sophia and Carlo lived for years under scrutiny, moving to Switzerland and later to France to escape the pressure. When they finally married legally in 1966, it was not just a personal victory, it was a triumph of love over judgment. Sophia would later reflect, "We lived in exile for love. But I would have done it all again. He was my everything." Tulip, a devoted wife and mother. Despite her global fame, Sophia never saw herself solely as a movie star. At her core, she was a wife and mother who cherished family above all. In 1968, she gave birth to her first son, Carlo Ponti Jr., followed by Edoardo Ponti in 1973. Sophia has often said that motherhood was her greatest role. She described holding her first child as the most beautiful script I've ever read. She balanced her career and her family with remarkable discipline. At the height of her stardom, she would fly home between shoots just to cook dinner for her family. Fame, for her, was never more important than love. Her sons grew up surrounded by creativity. Carlo became a conductor, and Edoardo a film director. Through them, Sophia's artistic spirit continues to live on. Life was not without pain. Sophia suffered through miscarriages before successfully becoming a mother, experiences that left deep emotional scars. She also battled self-doubt, despite her fame. In interviews, she admitted, "Sometimes, I felt like I was still that poor girl from Naples pretending to be a star." That humility became her strength. She never allowed ego to define her. Even after winning an Oscar, she would still cook her own meals, iron her clothes, and write letters to her fans by hand. Her grounded nature earned her the admiration of those who worked with her, from fellow actors to directors and crew members. She treated everyone with respect. In the late 1970s, Sophia faced another major challenge, a legal battle with the Italian government. In 1982, she was charged with tax evasion, accused of underpaying her taxes during the peak of her career. Rather than deny or hide, Sophia faced the charges directly. She spent 17 days in prison, emerging with dignity and grace. When asked about the experience, she said simply, "Prison was just another chapter. You learn. You survive. And then you go on." Her honesty, her willingness to confront adversity head-on, made her even more admired. Italy forgave her, and the world loved her more for her courage. Sophia's marriage to Carlo Ponti lasted over 50 years, one of the longest and most devoted partnerships in Hollywood history. When Ponti passed away in 2007, Sophia was devastated. She withdrew from public life for a time, grieving privately. In an interview, she said, "I lost the love of my life, but he never truly left me. I still talk to him, still hear his advice, still feel his presence." Even in grief, Sophia's grace never faltered. Her eyes, which had once been filled with youthful fire, now carried the wisdom of love, loss, and survival. Sophia Loren's greatest triumph is not her fame, nor her fortune, but her authenticity. She never became a prisoner of her image. She never chased youth or denied time. She grew older naturally, proudly, beautifully, showing the world that elegance comes not from perfection, but from peace with oneself. In one of her most famous quotes, she said, "Beauty is how you feel inside, and it reflects in your eyes. It is not something physical." That truth, spoken from experience, has become her legacy to women everywhere. Through every storm, Sophia Loren remained true to herself, a woman of warmth, wisdom, and unwavering dignity. As time moved forward and the decades passed, Sophia Loren remained an unshakable presence, a living link to the golden age of cinema, and a reminder of what it means to be truly timeless. While many of her peers faded from the public eye, Sophia continued to evolve, gracefully moving into new stages of her life without ever losing her fire, her laughter, or her grace. In the 1990s and 2000s, Sophia appeared in fewer films, choosing instead to focus on projects that spoke to her heart. She valued quality over quantity, storytelling over spectacle. She starred in Grumpier Old Men, 1995, where her radiant charm lit up the screen once again, and in Between Strangers, 2002, a heartfelt drama directed by her son, Eduardo Ponti. It was one of her most personal performances, a collaboration that united mother and son, art and family. Sophia played a woman haunted by regret, seeking redemption through her art. Critics praised her for the depth of her emotion and the quiet strength she brought to the role. In interviews, she called it the most meaningful film of my later years. Away from film sets, Sophia embraced life as an author and storyteller. She wrote her memoirs, Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow, My Life, offering a candid look at her childhood, her loves, her triumphs, and her lessons learned through decades in the spotlight. She also published cookbooks that combined her favorite recipes with personal memories. Cooking, for Sophia, was never just about food, it was about love, family, and connection. She often said, "The kitchen is where life happens. It is where you laugh, cry, remember, and begin again." Through her writing, Sophia revealed the simple truth that behind the glamour of the movie star was a woman who found joy in the ordinary. In a bowl of pasta, a family meal, a shared story. Even after turning 80, Sophia Loren proved that her passion for acting still burned bright. In 2020, she returned to film in The Life Ahead, La Vita davanti a sé, once again directed by her son Eduardo Ponti. She played Madame Rosa, a Holocaust survivor and former sex worker who cares for the children of other women who can't. The film was emotional, raw, and deeply human, a perfect reflection of Sophia herself. Her performance was met with global acclaim. Critics called it majestic, heartbreaking, and a masterclass in empathy. She won the David Di Donateo Award for Best Actress, Italy's equivalent of an Oscar, more than 60 years after her first. It was a rare and powerful full-circle moment. Sophia Loren, at 86, still commanding the screen, still captivating hearts, still proving that true artistry has no age. Sophia Loren's later years have been a testament to grace, not the superficial kind found in red carpets, but the kind born of wisdom and peace. She chose to age naturally, rejecting the pressures of Hollywood perfection. She never tried to hide her years. Instead, she wore them like a crown. Her beauty evolved, from the fiery glamour of youth to the serene radiance of experience. She became a living symbol of what it means to grow older with dignity. When asked about the secret to her timelessness, she smiled and said, "There is no secret. You just live, you laugh, you love, and you don't worry about time." Today, Sophia Loren's legacy stretches far beyond cinema. She paved the way for generations of actresses, especially those from Europe, to dream beyond their borders, to believe that language, origin, or poverty could never define their destiny. She broke barriers not with rebellion, but with grace. She taught that femininity is not weakness, that strength does not need to roar, and that success is nothing without kindness. Sophia Loren changed how the world viewed beauty, showing that it is not about symmetry or perfection, but about confidence, authenticity, and soul. To this day, directors, actresses, and artists across the world name her as their inspiration. From Penelope Cruz to Meryl Streep, her influence lives on in every performer who dares to blend vulnerability with power. In her 90s, Sophia Loren lives a quiet life in Switzerland, surrounded by her family, her memories, and the peace she earned after a lifetime of storms. But her spirit, her laughter, her wisdom, her legacy, continues to shine across generations. She once said, "I am not afraid of the future. I have lived my life. I have loved deeply. And I have been loved. What more could I ask for?" Those words capture the essence of who she is, a woman who rose from poverty to glory, from silence to song, from struggle to immortality. And so we honor Sophia Loren, not just as an actress, but as a force of nature. She is the woman who carried the soul of Italy into the world. The girl who turned hunger into strength. The artist who proved that beauty fades, but grace never does. And the legend who showed us that stars don't disappear, they evolve, they inspire, they endure. Sophia Loren is not a memory of the past. She is a light that continues to burn, elegant, fierce, eternal. Person with praying hands, if this tribute touched you, please like this video, subscribe to Gone Legends, and share it with others who love remembering Hollywood's finest stars. Together, we keep their stories alive.